Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Riverside. Hope you all didn't have to park too far away, but enjoy the car show afterwards because it's there. So our opening hymn this morning is number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," the famous Quaker song. In the great hymnal, number 16, feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple."
Tis a gift to be, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be, and when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis the gift to be gentle, 'tis the gift to be fair, 'tis the gift to wake and breathe the morning air, and every day to walk in the path we choose. 'Tis the gift that we pray we may ne'er come to lose. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
Okay, you can be seated now. And thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Steve Fuji. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, at least for one more month, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the worship committee who make this service possible include Alec Peck, our music coordinator, who you saw up on the screen, Adam Wedding King, who monitors our visual and online connections, Kate Lewicki, who is in charge of the sound system, and Grace Preuss, who's out there somewhere, who puts these things all together. And we welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. We invite you to leave your worries and defenses at the door and trust that what happens in worship is inspiring and powerful. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser as we begin a new day and a new week. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave a slide up with all the information, and it is available on our website. Our first Sunday luncheon is not happening today. It's being postponed until next Sunday, June 8th, when we will be holding our congregational meeting. Sandwiches will be served for lunch before the meeting. Contributions are appreciated and will be donated to the church fund. The monthly Peace Circle talks are informative and supportive discussions about current events that relate to UU values. It will be held today at 12:30 in the parish hall, which is out there. All are invited to attend and participate in the Q&A session. Church Council will meet on the second Friday of the month in the annex. The next meeting will be at 5:30 p.m. on June 13th. Our summer yard sale will take place this coming Friday and Saturday, June 6th and 7th, in the parish hall and the front lawn. We will be setting up on Thursday, June 5th. Please bring your donations of saleable items in by the end of May, or before next week anyway. See Kate Lewicki if you are available to volunteer to assist before, during, or after the sale. This is an important fundraising event and a lot of work, and all proceeds will go to the church fund. Thank you in advance for your participation. The book club meets the second Monday of the month, June 9th at 6:30 p.m. This month's selection is If Cats Disappeared from the World. Join us if you can. Our time together is brief, but it's filled with joy. In that spirit, I invite you to turn to those around you, greet them, welcome them, and share that joy. For those on Zoom, you can use the Zoom wave gesture or just wave at your camera. So hello, everybody. And please hang around and socialize later, now that you've all made new friends or old friends. So welcome to all our visitors today, and welcome back to our old friends. We would love to meet you during coffee hour in the parish hall after the service, where you can also find our visitor book. Please leave your name before you leave, that's if you're new here, so that we know you're here, and leave your contact information if you want updates on church events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. And now, I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You're welcome to read with me the covenant of our church. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to live in harmony with all the living creatures and plants of the earth. This we do affirm. Our speaker today is UUCR member Dave Van Voorhis. Dave is a longtime member of UUCR. He is married to Linda Van Voorhis and the father of 2 children and grandfather of 3. Dave was a registered critical care nurse for more than 20 years and is now retired. He enjoys nature and the outdoors, gardening, wildlife, and long-range fishing. Well, if you catch any fish, let me know. Our UU values teach us to respect the inherent worth and dignity of each person and to act with equity and compassion in our relationships with one another. We also try to foster an environment where individuals are accepted for who they are and are encouraged to grow spiritually in their own way. Today's service was inspired by the book Magical Child by teacher and writer Joseph Chilton Pearce. First published April 27, 1977, Magical Child is a classic work that has profoundly questioned the current thinking on childbirth practices, parenting, and educating our children. Our early life experiences seem to greatly affect our adulthood dysfunction. Children raised in an environment of nonviolence grow up to be more well-adjusted and independent. That is why raising children in a loving, nonviolent home is critical for their spiritual growth. The author believed that it is never too late to play and to rediscover the astonishing wealth of creative intelligence that is the birthright of every human being. I'm glad to hear it's not too late to play because I still like playing like a kid. So we have 2 lightings of sacred flames. Bill, Casey, are you going to do this? Okay. Well, the first is a remembrance candle for the indigenous people who continue to crowd for justice and self-determination. We remember that underneath us is the unceded land of several indigenous people, the Cahuilla, the Luiseño, and the Gupeño. We light this sacred flame in their remembrance and in recognition of their ongoing struggle for freedom and dignity. And keep in mind that when it says unceded land, that means they didn't really give it up. We just took it. So our second flame is our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and opportunity to strive and live out our common principles, which are to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. You read the bold one. Let us enter the sacred sanctuary, the way an infant centers in the bright world.
Squinting in wonder, holding to one another, and taking it all in.
Let us open all our senses and let our synapses spark, one connection after another.
As we make sense of the world and find joy with each other and follow the instinct to play.
Thank you, Bill. It is said that shared joy is a double joy, shared sorrow is half sorrow. So on the first Sunday of the month, we share the joys and concerns that we have received from you and which you have collected throughout the month. First, I'm going to read the joys and concerns that were given to us. Do we have any that were given to us? Well, okay, if there's anyone in the sanctuary who would like to speak their joy or concern, please raise your hand and we'll invite you to speak here at the microphone. Okay.
I'll be brief, but of course all of you are thinking. It's wearing just to see it happening over and over, and the destruction over in Gaza. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Do you have a joy or concern, or do you just want to do the stone? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Not so much a joy, but at least a satisfaction in this time where politics gets twisted and a lot is going in a direction we don't want it to go. One thing that is happening is we're remembering the steps we need to take to make good things happen. There's enough going wrong that it's hard to see that as a full-strength joy, but it is a satisfaction. And in the meantime, why is there not more clown music? Because we're at a time that really seems to call for it.
Thank you. Do we have anybody on Zoom that has joys or sorrows? I have a little bit of a sorrow at the death of one of my musical heroes, Rick Derringer, who passed away a few days ago at the young age of 77. I think of that as young age because I'm pushing 70 myself. So, okay. If there's anything, but, Sandra.
My joy is that my youngest daughter received her PhD this month. And what is more amazing is that my father, who immigrated here from Mexico, was illiterate and could only write his name. So 2 generations later, there's a PhD in the family.
Oh, yeah, congratulations. But it means you were a good mother and encouraged education. Okay. So we place a stone in our water chalice to represent the joys and concerns we have shared with our church community and in recognition of those we hold close and have not shared.
Mark for the roof, for the things we hold separate, bright and rough and smooth all together in the state of how life exists.
May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in silence in our hearts. Our hymn now is number 1064, Blue Boat Home from the Teal Hymnal, one of our all-time hits of UU. So, please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Still I drive beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, and the great winds urging me on. Read the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port I have known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Thank you. Be seated. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we'll have in church each Sunday. You get the full value, and the church receives a percentage for free. Please see Dinah Rowe or Robert Braun in the church office if you're interested in purchasing the gift cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. To those who have given their time and talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. To all of you who have joined us here today, thank you for the gift of your presence. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? A tote bag will also be passed around to collect food and hygiene items for our local community. Well, we have different music for that this time, and I didn't recognize it until I read it up there, but then again, I also flunked music history in college, so there you go. Our next hymn is number 402 in the gray hymnal, From You I Receive. And please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you and stuff like that. You know the drill here. I receive to you. Our meditation today is Prayer for Our Children by Robert F. Kaufman. We invite you to take a moment to sit back, relax, And if you wish, gently close your eyes. We wish for you a storm or two, that you may enjoy the calm. We wish for you tranquility in time of trial. We wish you a cool breeze on a warm day and pale white clouds, that you may better appreciate the blueness of the sky. We wish you darkness, that you may see the stars. We wish you anticipation of high adventure, and we wish you the courage to avoid battle. We wish you a sense of wonder and poetry and music. We wish you companionship, that you may appreciate solitude. We wish you a friend who will understand you, an understanding so that you may have a friend. We wish you may become all that you wish to be, and more than you hope that you can be. We wish you a flower to smell, a hand to touch, a voice to cheer, a heart to gladden. And we wish you someone to love as we love you. Now let us pause for a moment of silence and reflection. Now I would like to introduce Dave Van Voorhis, speaking to us on Magical Child. Dave?
My name is Dave Van Voorhis, a longtime member here, speaking about children, the inner child within us all. We start out in the womb, and I honor all the mothers in the room who have carried children, given the gift of bearing life. And as an infant, as a fetus, we're free floating in the amniotic fluid, and able to move around and not a worry in the world. And over time, the area gets more constricted, and you start moving around, trying to bump around. And any woman who's been through labor knows what a traumatic experience that is. But think about the child being squeezed through the birth canal. When we're born, our frontal plates are not fully fused because our mind still has to grow. It's only 1/4 the size that it's eventually going to become. And so when children are born, instead of letting the process use gravity, they have the mother lay down on a bed and push and force the baby out. And it can be very traumatic for both the child and the mother, especially the child. And the first thing they do, the child gets into this brand new world, bright lights, doctors, nurses suctioning the mucus out of their nose, and then they're grabbed by the ankles and turned upside down and given a spank to get him to cry. And breathing just to a new infant is, they go from getting their nutrients from the amniotic fluid to taking a breath. And the first breath they take, it feels like fire. They breathe in, breathe out, and we stimulate them with a violent act. And then Then the baby is given to the mother and gets the sense of touch and smell, and hopefully the noise kind of calms down and the lights are dim. And then after a while, they take the baby away and put the baby in an incubator under a false ultraviolet light that does the same as sunlight. And so the mother can rest. And meanwhile, the baby's like alone in a crib. And it's like, where's mom? And that's our hospital experience today. I was injured in an accident suffered in the hospital when I was working on call for an emergency C-section to recover the patient, recover the mother. I got in a wreck. And anyway, children, ages, their brain develops ages 0 through 4. And they're very much affected by their environment that they're raised in. I see people in like Walmart or somewhere, Costco, and they're smacking an 18-month-old for misbehaving. That children have no concept of misbehaving when they're age 2. They just want to play. Everything is a new world for them. They want to discover everything with their busy little hands and their busy little feet. And a lot of times it's repressed. They're told, no, you can't do that. No. Instead of being redirected, the positive way is to distract and redirect the child to a more, a better way to do it. We were all children once, and I feel like I'm still a child at heart. I like to play. I like to play in the garden. I like to play outdoors. And, when we're born, it's, blank. I'm not used to public speaking. When we're born, we're innocent. We're free from all the thoughts and the guilts. We just want to explore. And, a lot of us grew up getting spanked. I remember when I got the belt as a child, my dad would say, "This hurts me more than it hurts you." And I probably deserved the little tune-up, but I know what he means now. It really hurt him to have to discipline me in that way with corporal punishment. And I feel like it's way too common. I think that a lot of the ills of the world today is from neurotic adults imposing their will on children. And the children grow up trying to compensate with things like power or school, scholastic achievement. Not every kid does well in school. Not every kid has the aptitude for it. And they feel less than. I have a granddaughter who's honor 4.0, got a scholarship, does softball. And compared to her younger sister, who's 15, who couldn't maintain a C average to stay on the school softball team that she loved. And so I told Camden, do what makes you happy. Find something that really makes you happy, and if you can make a living at it, more power to it. Don't worry about getting a straight A's or B's or even C's. You can always take the GED test later. And when I got into nursing, no one ever asked me what my high school GPA was or my college GPA. They want to see if I had a license. And so Camden, she's 15, and they've got her in an alternative education, which is mostly online, and she attends like once a week. And it's better for her. She's more well-adjusted. I see children, children are busy, busy, busy. And the young ones especially, they're always into anything and everything because it's a brand new world to them. They want to discover everything. And they use their busy little hands and fingers. And the magical child is within all of us. I think that we all like to play in some way or another. We all like to explore things that are of interest to us. I think that's repressed a lot. The children are not allowed to. You have to go to school, you got to do your homework, got to do this, got to do that. If you have a favorite toy or whatever, if you're bad, you get disciplined by the denial of playing with that toy. And that instills a feeling of less than and wants. And I'm sorry, I'm not really prepared for this speaking, but you guys kind of get where I'm going with it. Children raised in a nonviolent way wind up being more balanced adults as time goes on. Somebody that spanks a 18-month-old, 2-year-old even, they have no idea why they're being spanked. They just know it's physical pain. They want love. They want touch. We're always seeking approval of our parents. Even today, my parents are long gone, but I planted trees in their memory. I was a middle child, so I was always into things. I was very inquisitive. And I have 2 children of my own that are adults. One's in her 40s, the other one's 35. He's traveling the world for the last year and a half. And my daughter lives in Wrightwood. It gave me 3 granddaughters. And I asked them both recently, do you ever remember me hitting you? And they thought about it for a while. They said, no. And I said, well, do you remember the penalty box? They said, oh, yeah. So that was, I was enlightened on this philosophy of raising your children to nurture their interests by the late Talbot Winchell at Juniper Ranch, who felt like the ills of the world are the result of neurotic adults seeking power, seeking control. And he was so right. And that inspired me not to ever discipline my kids physically. And, all I can say is if you don't have kids, you can be an uncle or an aunt or a friend, a trusted friend. And children need that. They need somebody they can turn to and trust and open up and talk about their feelings. And, I read another book called Birth Without Violence by Frederick Leboyer, Dr. Frederick Leboyer, this French physician who published it in 1972 with this whole idea of how we treat children when they're born. And that's when it begins. It begins at birth. How would you feel if you went for a nice, warm environment, got squeezed through this tight little space, and then yanked away, held upside down, spanked, and then taken away and given a bottle of formula. I'm a real big believer in breastfeeding. I think that a lot of the antibodies and resistance come through the breast milk from mothers instead of a bottle with the artificial formula, which is a lot of times dairy. And kids get allergies to that. They get lactose intolerance and whatnot. And I feel like breastfeeding, not only you get the immunity from your mom, but you get the touch, the smell, the other senses, the soft voice. You get a more calming environment, and you get closeness with your child. And I think we live in a world that's pretty messed up, and I really have concerns about the current administration. But I believe that our current president probably was repressed as a child and seeks power. And anyway, my inspiration is to teach your children well, because what you learn, what you live, the environment that you live in at home. And some kids are born without parents, they're born out of wedlock, or they're adopted and whatever, and kind, loving people adopt them, and they turn out to be well-adjusted adults. And I think that the basis is teach our children well, and our future depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. So, actually that all reminds me of the song Teach Your Children, was written by Graham Nash, which was over 50 years ago, but still has a lot of wisdom now and is very relevant. It took me most of my life to figure out that what I want to be when I grow up as a kid, so I try to live that as much as I can now, but this old body just doesn't want to go up with the plan sometimes. So, actually, speaking of which, our closing song is Teach Your Children Well by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and again, as I said, it was written by Graham Nash. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, or just sit back and enjoy the music. Please stand in body or spirit. Join us in singing Teach Your Children. The title is actually Teach Your Children.
You are on the road, must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh. And know they love you. And you of tender years can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well. Their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
You know, I first started performing that song when I was 15 years old, which was a couple of years ago, and I still remember all the lyrics, but I can't remember anything from yesterday. I guess that's a sign of old age. Anyway, so our benediction. May we look with gratitude upon this day for the beauty of the world, for the first radiance of dawn, and the last smoldering glow of sunset. Let us be thankful for physical joys, for hills to climb and hard work to do, for music that lifts our hearts in one breath, for the hand clasp of a friend, and for the gracious loveliness of children who remind us of the wonders of life. May we be appreciative above all for the concern and love of those around us, for the exceeding bliss of the touch of the holy, which suddenly awakens our drowsy souls to the blessed awareness of the divine within us and within others. For all of this, and for the countless other blessings present in our lives, let us be grateful. Namaste, Amen, and blessed be. Thank you, Dave, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. We'll have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion following the service. For those who wish to share your thoughts and observations on today's topic, please be aware that this will be included in the video that is posted. For the rest of you, you are now welcome to adjourn into the parish hall. Would anyone like to come up and share their thoughts?
Hi, good morning. My name is Sam. I was really moved by the speech that you gave, Dave, and I'm very interested in the book. I also grew up with a lot of corporal punishment, and it was something that was obviously learned and is generational. My dad was raised that way, his dad was raised that way, and so on. And so I think now as an adult and a lot of my own healing and all like that, I obviously want to break that cycle that's going on with my family. And I currently work in education, so I work with a lot of kids, and that's been a really healing experience for me to be able to, work with youth. And I currently work with children who are known for their behavior problems. They have these plans put in place to kind of get them back on track. And I kind of struggle with it sometimes because I feel like a lot of these kids, yes, have things that they're working on because of their home lives themselves, but one of the things that one of my kids told me when we were kind of giving him those school restrictions and like that, he was like, well, we don't want to do work, we just want to play. Don't you remember, you were kids once too? And I think he's 7, and it made me stop and think for a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was the most profound thing I've heard. And so I do think about that now every time I'm at work, when I'm telling them no, or they can't climb on the things that they want to climb on, or have 5 extra minutes of play. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should remember being a kid too and give them that space. So yeah, I just really liked today's talk, so thank you.
Thank you. And I commend you for understanding that in your own work with children, and if you have children of your own, you don't have to raise them the way that you were raised. I found it very gratifying working with children when I did, and I was working with supposedly emotionally disturbed children who were mostly brilliantly intelligent, and I helped them to understand they don't have to be their parents. they can break free of that. Anybody else? Grace?
Thank you, Dave, for that presentation. I have two questions for you. The first one is, did your interest in reading these types of books come when you became a parent?
I was introduced to this philosophy by Talbot Winchell, who used to have the Juniper Ranch in Apple Valley. And he would have Tuesday meetings about the subject of raising children in a nonviolent way, allowing them to be children and play. That's how I got the inspiration to raise my children in nonviolence. And thank you.
And then could you tell us about your penalty box method?
Oh, the penalty box. I was living in a single wide, way up a dirt road on some property I bought really cheap. And my daughter Asha was very precocious. And the one thing she hated the most was the penalty box, which is like this little bitty room in the single wide mobile home. And she'd have to be in there for, 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes for her would turn into an eternity. And that got the message across.
It was like a timeout. So they say there are no manuals for parenthood, but if you go into any bookstore, there's like shelves and shelves of like self-help books and things like that. So I guess you have to take your pick.
Okay, anyone else? Or is there anyone on Zoom? Okay. Hi.
Hello, my name is Kiara Sellis. I really do resonate with this topic, in my personal experience, violence does the opposite of what you want it to do in regards to children, because, I feel like almost every person in this room has experienced some form of violence, and, it's just words are more powerful than any violence that can be acted. And I am in the process of helping my cousins heal. One is 12 and one is 5. And they came from a very abusive household. So I try my best every day to tell them that, words are more powerful than any violence that someone can act on. And I see that every day with them. And one of them just promoted, and the other one is going to first grade, so that is very exciting to me. And being present in their graduation experience was it was very hopeful for me. It was very healing for me as well, that I could be there to help them with that experience and have them have a good memory associated towards their growth and development. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing people your age having such wisdom in dealing with children gives me hope for the future that I was losing at one time. Do we have anybody online? Is there anybody online at all? No, nobody wants to share anything online? Anybody else here?
This talk spoke to me to a great degree. luckily, I dummied up very quick. And my dad wasn't mean, but he did want me to do things his way. My sister, on the other hand, 13 years older, would always kind of test things, and so she had a little tougher time with my parents. But I came up to mention, as perhaps some of you can think of, but I want to say this, when people say, how on earth do you want to be interested in something like math or chemistry or physics? And I became interested in electricity just by getting shocked by it and seeing a bright light and going, what's that about? And so I started building little projects, and I'll bring next Sunday, my final project which was a photocopy machine. My idea was to experience the same feeling that the inventors have. Very few people seem to understand it, but when I come across someone who has made little contraptions like motors and generators in their youth, when I show them my gadgets, they don't see a gadget, they see themselves. So I think it's very true that if you can encourage your child to find an interest, once they have that, that'll motivate them to continue on in schooling. Not as far innate interest in math, I have no idea how you do that, but because of electricity, I had to build things to receive frequencies I wanted, AM radio, and in order to receive those frequencies, I had to employ algebra, and so that led me into math, and finally it becomes more interesting the more you take it, which actually true, and you may say, huh? But it does. There is also a lot of stuffiness and arrogance, so you do have to kind of just keep moving forward in studying it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Bill?
Well, one trick is basically borrow a piece from the military. People, if you've got somebody who's studying for a long time, don't sit there and, in the name of tidiness, wait until they take a break 2 and 3 hours into the class. 50 minutes or so of study, and you keep asking, you keep saying, let them know that there's no such thing as a stupid question. There are some people who will test that theory, but even in the same case, you smile and realize that it may be them testing it today and you tested it last week, or will tomorrow. So number one, a gap, a frequent one, well, like every hour, 50 minutes on subject, 10 minutes to stand up, stretch, be off topic, get them physically away from the spot where they were standing so that they can mentally put the work down, talk to each other, and so on. And you do that consistently. Second thing is, as I think you two have found out, you give them something that comes at a problem from a dozen different directions. Like, you're going to study amphibians. Okay, now we're going to study different amphibians. We're going to study how they take care of the tadpoles. We're going to look at the chemicals that are in the water, maybe. You're going to look at the math of something. In other words, there'll be a thing. You'll start out looking at amphibians, then maybe you'll narrow it to frogs. Then you'll say, okay, how does this one get by? How does this one get by? How does this one get by? Now all of a sudden you can either go broad and go back out to the environment, or you can go broad and then narrow it down and make sure that essentially you can start looking at frogs. Now all of a sudden you're looking at how does oxygen disseminate itself through tissue in order to make for a healthy organism. I grew up being, I was pre-web, so we had these things called encyclopedias. And you can read and just get a batch of subjects, cluster them up, and then all of a sudden you realize that you've back-read and you now understand how the Roman republics worked. That essentially these, as a teacher, you're trying to connect the dots, but sometimes going loose and then asking questions and then narrowing it can be of good advantage and can help out your kids a lot.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you all for being here today. It's a pretty good turnout, and I know that parking was a problem today, so I commend you for your perseverance in finding a place to park and walking all the way over here from wherever you had to park. So please join us out in the parish hall for refreshments and further fellowship, and thank you for being here again.